21st, 2020. Translated by Chinyu and edited by Care. To be proud, one must have qualifications and capital, otherwise they are either neurotic or at least in some way, mentally ill. Xuefeng's pride of qualifications and capital are as follows. I have analyzed the three elements that make up the universe and unified Buddhism with science organically for the first time. These three elements are the universal unified field theory that scientists have been seeking diligently to obtain. This is something that can never be achieved by human thinking and wisdom. It is okay if you do not understand the mystery, but do not make noise, because I would never expect a donkey to understand it, but braying is very annoying. I have written nearly 110,000 characters to show people the birth process of the greatest creator, his characteristics, and his relationship to humankind, which provides a basis for us to understand him correctly. This is an unprecedented pioneering work. I have analyzed the principles and essence of life. This has never been done before and can never be done again. No one can surpass this analysis. If anyone thinks that they are better than me, just try to reanalyze it. I have created a new mode of production and life that has never been seen before in history, Xuefeng-style communism, the mode of production and life for the future. I have analyzed the nature of marriages and families. Although many people have studied them throughout history, their analyses cannot be compared to mine. I have interpreted the 8 forces of the universe for the first time. Scientists currently only recognize 4 of them. I have divided people into 5 categories according to their characteristics for the first time. Ignorant ones, lay people, mortals, sages, and celestials. These classifications make sense. Whoever wants to surpass me is invited to give it a try. I have described to people the 8 levels of thinking based on the characteristics of life for the first time, and have given detailed explanations. I have, for the first time in human history, guided nearly 80 people to become celestials, opening a path to celestial life for future generations. I have analyzed 20 parallel worlds and 36 dimensional spaces. There are many more qualifications and capitals worthy of my pride, but I will not describe them one by one over here. The above 10 are enough to make me proud, and anyone who is not convinced is invited to post their abilities online. I am really this proud, and in a few decades, humans will send me, Xuefeng, to the temple of God. 你所执着的将会成为你升华的障碍. That which you cling to will become the obstacle to your sublimation. Xuefeng, September 24th, 2020. Translated by Care and edited by Care. If you walk unswervingly toward a great and bright goal, you will find that fewer and fewer people will remain with you. At first, there will be many people, but as you walk, they will thin out. Why does this happen? The reason is that they are blocked by stubbornness and become unable to continue. As long as you stay where you are, people will remain with you. But once you make a breakthrough, some people will part ways with you. To move toward a great goal, it is necessary to constantly break through your original cycles, your original concepts and cognitions, and your original values, ethics, outlooks on life, and worldviews. As you continue making breakthroughs, more people will part ways with you, so you will become more and more alone. And finally, even those who quarreled with you and scolded you will have disappeared. To change from one form to another, a person must break through their original self, their inherent cognition and thinking logic, which is like pupae metamorphosing into butterflies. Without breaking through their original cocoon of protection, no one can transform into a dancing butterfly. When a life thinks that it is right, then its transformation stops and can no longer sublimate. If it is a pig now, then it will always remain one and will never have any hope of becoming a person. Breakthroughs and transcendences are not only cognitive leaps, but also qualitative mutations. They are smelting rebirths, resurrections. They are processes of joy, also with pain, like thunderstorms and lightning, which are unbearable to the vast majority of people because inertia always pulls people back to their original positions. I have had classmates in all my levels of education as well as colleagues with whom I worked as playmates, friends, and lovers who now have almost all disappeared. Not because they have died, but because we no longer share anything in common and have no desire to get together. What interests them bores me, and what interests me bores them. So we drifted apart and disappeared over each other's event horizons. I have met many people online. At first, Our friendships were as sweet as honey, but as we walked on, the tastes of our friendships changed from sweet to waxy. Then their images became more and more vague until they gradually disappeared from the screen of my memory. When people standing on the tops of mountains and people standing at the feet of mountains look at each other, they each feel that the others look very small. People who eat Manchu Han imperial banquets feel sorry for those who eat wild fruits in the forest, who in turn feel sad for those who eat Manchu Han imperial banquets. Different realms and different cognitive abilities create different feelings. The boy of Wu Zhuangguan, name of a Taoist temple, sent the Tang monk a first-class immortal genuine ginseng fruit with the shape of a baby, but the Tang monk not only refused to accept it, but also complained that the boy had tainted his compassion and Buddha heart by feeding him the baby. This scene was very ridiculous. Sometimes, from a word, a post, a look in a person's eyes, or an expression, one can know what another person is thinking, what they want to do, and what the result will be. No matter how one pretends or how they whitewash their thoughts and feelings, they cannot hide the state of their mind or the level of their soul. Sometimes, to know and understand a person, you do not need to listen to what they say or see what they do, because you can know their inner world from only the content that they post. Flies post shit, bees post honey. Who are the poor people? Those who cannot read this article, and those who do not give likes after reading it. The gate of heaven is always open for you. Can you not find it? Do you know why you cannot find it? Because the things that you cling to are obstructing your spiritual eyes, what you value, what you pursue, what you insist on, and what you maintain, just like high walls blocking your path, preventing you from getting out of the cave of the silken web. Are you complacent about your achievements and greatness? Please note that when flies find fresh shit, they feel as good as you do. 陨石被摧毁与生命残愿的关系. The relationship between the destruction of the meteorite and Life-Genuine. Xuefeng. October 6, 2020. Translated by Yu and edited by Care. On February 15, 2013 at 9:23 a.m., a meteorite with a diameter of about 17 meters and a weight of about 7,000 tons fell towards Russia's Chelyabinsk Oblast at a speed of Mach 54. At a distance of 24 kilometers above the ground, it was caught and violently smashed into and destroyed by a mysterious object at a speed exceeding that of the meteorite. If this meteorite had not been destroyed, the consequences would have been serious. According to scientists' calculations, the impact of the meteorite's explosion on the Earth would have been equivalent to 30 atomic bombs. Even more terrifying is that 100 kilometers from the place where the meteorite fell are Russia's Mayak nuclear fuel plants. Once the meteorite had hit the ground directly, it would have instantly destroyed all of Asia and perhaps even the world. Who made the mysterious object that crashed into the meteorite? Was it a missile made in Russia? No, the fastest missile in the world only has a speed of Mach 20, while the meteorite flew at Mach 54. No missile could have intersected that meteorite. So, who did it? Was it the military? Are you kidding me? Humans do not have that technology yet. I clearly stated in the Chanyuan corpus, before this meteorite was crushed, that the Earth is protected by super celestial beings. These powers who protect the Earth are in underwater pyramids beneath the Bermuda Triangle. There is a huge space beneath those pyramids which are as big as a medium-sized city. They observe and protect the Earth at all times and occasionally remotely control UFOs inside the moon to patrol the Earth, and they keep abreast of the dynamics of the Earth. Crop circles are information symbols that they record. The above-mentioned meteorite being crushed was done by the super celestial beings who protect the Earth. Do you still remember the strange car accident that happened to me? Do you remember the panic before 2012? I told you in early April 2009 that due to leaks, the catastrophe that people expected to occur in December 2012 would not occur, but instead would occur in reciprocating, circular, and increasingly serious ways until the Great Purification comes. Have the changes that have taken place on the Earth in the past 11 years not completely met my prediction? Do you know of Boriska, the Russian Martian? As soon as Life-Genuine emerged, he came out within a week to support us, which prompted Shinha Celestial to write the prologue to Life-Genuine. Soon after that, Boriska informed everyone that the great spiritual guide of mankind had been born in northwestern China. Do you not think that was too coincidental? Does anyone not think that this is a deliberate arrangement? Who else does not believe in life genuine? Many mysteries I cannot say, nor am I allowed to say, but I can tell you that the future era will be the era of life genuine, and that the future human production and life mode will be the new oasis for life mode created by life genuine. The dark forces have tried their best to obstruct this and they wanted to destroy it, but I can tell everyone that this cannot be done. And in the following 20 to 30 years, mankind will surely send Xuefeng to the altar. By the way, I want to warn all who engage in mysterious, spooky, furtive, and sneaky affairs that the universe knows what you are doing. In the future, everything will be done in the open. Stop it now, or you will regret it later. Everyone, hurry and infuse life genuine's values into your minds. Make haste to understand the new oasis for life mode. Hurry up to purify your hearts, and you may have a glimmer of life. 账总是要算的写在大灾变前夕. The day of reckoning will come. Writings on the eve of the cataclysm. Xuefeng, November 27, 2020. Translated by Yu and edited by Care. The sum of positive and negative energy in the universe is always zero. What you get and what you pay must be calculated. If you get more but pay less, then it is time to pay some back. If you cannot pay it back, then your life will be taken from you, and you will have to pay with it. Do not have a fluky mind. No one can run away. Wearing a mask is useless. Wearing armor is useless, and hiding below the ground is useless. Where there is air, there is balance, and where the sun shines, there are courts. Do not look everywhere for a savior. No savior can protect you. Only you can save yourself. Pick up a calculator to figure your own income and expenditure account and see if you are receiving more or paying more. If you are receiving more, then you need to spit it out. If you are paying more, do not worry, for your reward will come. The calculation is easy. Nature knows what you have gained from it and what you have done for it, and will forget neither. What you have gained from human society and what you have done for human society is clearly recorded in the detention information space. Your subconscious is clear of what you have gained from others and what you have done for others. Maybe no one else knows what you have done, but heaven, earth, God, and you all know it. Heaven has eyes, earth has eyes, and there are eyes throughout the universe. Nothing is concealable, including what you reflect and think in your heart. Remember, you cannot even hide what you think. If you say more and do less, even if what you say is true, you are just making a living with the truth. If more people are making a living with the truth, then ordinary people's lives will be even more difficult. The lives of ordinary people become more difficult, and those who talk a lot should take responsibility. Once a person opens their mouth, you will know what they are thinking about and what they are planning, and even if they speak nicely or even beautifully, their true intentions will not be concealed. People can say very beautiful things, and they can say a lot of things that reveal the truth, but if they cannot do them, then they are deceiving the world, stealing glory, and lying. There are two reasons for the occurrences of cataclysms. The first is that the plot of the program written into the story says that it is time to settle the accounts, and the second is the hope of the people. Those who suffer have long been looking forward to the occurrence and arrival of the cataclysm because only it can get them out of their predicaments. 3 factors can alleviate this cataclysm. Elderly people must be allowed to spend their old age happily. Nature must be restored to its original purity, and the weather will be made favorable. Honest people should live and work in peace and contentment without being bullied and oppressed. You should rack your brains hard and forget about everything else. Because the Ziwei Saint, the second coming of Jesus, Maitreya Buddha descending into the world, and the appearance of the saint will do the 3 things above. First, if you concentrate hard, then the frequency of your consciousness will be the same as the above individuals, and you will be saved. The source of the suffering of the poor and the way to their liberation. Xuefeng, February 5, 2021. Translated by Yu and edited by Care. I am a poor man, so I know the source of poor people's suffering. Let us not talk about individual people's specific internal factors, but only their external factors. There are 3 main external factors that cause them to suffer. The first is harsh governance. The second is natural disasters including diseases, and the third is mutual tormenting among the poor. Among the 3 factors above, mutual torturing among the poor is the main one. Or it can be said that at least 3/4 of their suffering comes from their mutual tormenting of each other. Who are the poor? Farmers, workers, peddlers, wage earners, migrant workers, public service personnel, cleaners, urban management officers, security guards, police officers, soldiers, teachers, and civil servants all fit the bill. It can also be said that except for very wealthy officials and intelligentsia from all walks of life along with scholars and celebrities, most others qualify. Mutual bullying of the poor is common throughout Chinese society. The poorer they are, the harder they bully each other, and the closer they are to the bottom of the social totem pole, the more cruelly they bully each other. Here are 8 examples. Urban management officers bullying peddlers. Police, even traffic police, setting obstacles. Security guards beating others. Thieves stealing the property of the poor. Civil servants are jealous of and suppress each other. Teachers lecturing and threatening their students' parents. Civil servants making things difficult for others. Soldiers killing other conscripted soldiers. Between relatives and friends, classmates and colleagues, neighbors, villages, locals and outsiders, the mutual torturing and bullying of these poor people are even more untold. The poor should pity and support each other as fellow sufferers, but the fact is that the poor are even crueler when they bully each other, and as long as their income and social status is just a little bit higher, and they have just a little bit more power than others, they will be cruel and merciless to those who are lower than them. They have no compassion at all and even less pity. For example, urban management officers who were originally weak and poor but then got a little bit of power bully peddlers mercilessly and even knock the elderly to the ground. How can this be? If the poor did not bully and torment each other, then no matter how severe the natural disasters and harsh governments became, they would not be able to make the poor feel desperate. If the poor did not bully the poor, then the world would become a paradise. How do we stop the poor from bullying the poor? Preaching is not very effective. Our ancestors preached that people must understand benevolence, justice, etiquette, wisdom, and trust, and they must care for each other and live harmoniously. Various religions teach people to self-discipline, fulfill their rights, be loving and conscientious, and not hurt each other. But what actually happens? For thousands of years, bullying between the poor and the poor has never ceased or even decreased, and endless incidents of the poor bullying the poor every day abound. So what is the problem? The problem lies in private ownership and in marriages and families. Everyone understands the truth, but the reality is that persecution is more severe than the truth. In the face of money and vital interests, moral preaching loses out overwhelmingly. Most choose interests over morals and conscience, and therefore it is only by dispelling people's anxieties and fears about food, clothing, shelter, birth, old age, safety, sickness, and death that bullying among the poor can be turned around. It would be absolutely impossible for any single teenager or young adult to not long for intimacy with someone of the opposite sex. The best cure for their lovesickness would be to provide them with accessibility. If you prevent them from connecting with someone for the affection that they require, but instead instill moral consciences into them and teach them about Buddhism and saints, it would be like seeking fish from trees. So, how do we eradicate the phenomenon of the poor bullying each other? Let them all enter into a communist society. There, this phenomenon would disappear. When people think of communism, they do so instinctively as either an impossible, utopian fantasy, or they denounce it as an evil spirit aligned with the devil. Today, few people on a global scale believe in communism because of all the slandering against it. Even very few of the so-called communists who swear to fight for it actually believe in it. They consider it to be just a slogan, a pretext, or an unrealistic ideal. They take an oath, but they have no intention in their own hearts of fighting for it. In China, suppressing our communist community, the new oasis for life created by Xuefeng, is the most obvious example. Is it not ironic that the Communist Party suppresses our communist community? True communism is not an unattainable ideal because it was realized in China long ago and has been in operation for 11 years. It is the new oasis for life, where everyone is poor, but the phenomenon of poor people bullying other poor people has disappeared because they are also wealthy beyond their dreams, and the more honest, sincere, and diligent the people are, the more they are respected and cared for, because everyone's food, clothing, shelter, transportation, birth, old age, sickness, and death concerns have been eliminated. So, why should anyone bully anyone else? They do not. In the new oasis for life, boys grow into responsible, masculine, and modest gentlemen, and girls develop into caring and tender gentlewomen. Children grow up happily, and the elderly enjoy their twilight years. It is thoroughly beautiful. My conclusion is that if the poor want to end their suffering and the tragedy of the poor bullying each other, then there is only one way to go, and that is to join our pure, communist society. 穷苦人的路, The Way of the Poor. Xuefeng. February 6, 2021. Translated by Yu and edited by Care. I grew up in a poor family, so I am deeply aware of the sadness and helplessness of the poor. Now, I am over 60 years old and have gone through vicissitudes and hardships, so I have gathered some background perception and I am speaking out for the poor to think about them and as a reference. Let me first define what being poor is. Anyone who is accompanied by troubles, pain, anxiety, sorrow, or fear is poor. They can also be defined thusly. Anyone who suffers for food, clothing, shelter, transportation, birth, old age, sickness, death, or security without enjoying a happy, joyous, free, and blessed life is poor. It can also be said that anyone who is not free in body and mind is poor. Because I have walked out of the quagmire of poverty and am no longer a poor person, my knowledge may be of reference value to you. There are only 4 words that you must learn in order to escape from poverty. They are theory, skills, simplicity, and diligence. Learning theory means to learn theoretical knowledge, truth, human science, natural science, and logical thinking. Learning skills means learning survival techniques. It will not work if you know nothing. You should have at least one technique which you can rely on to support your family and yourself. Learning simplicity means being down to earth, not showing off, not being extravagant, not pretending to be wealthy, not pursuing goals that your energy and ability cannot reach to satisfy your vanity, not being overly ambitious, not trying to be outstanding, not wanting to be the best among people, not misbehaving, and not wanting to get rich overnight, let alone making a blockbuster killing. Learning diligence means to keep learning, keep doing things, not sleeping late, not hanging out, not playing games online, not coveting for ease, not swiping your screen all day while playing on your mobile phones, and not obsessing over TV dramas. The poor must guard against these following 8 traps. Anything that allows you to get rich quickly or get something for nothing. Anything called for by officials, the wealthy, or celebrities. Anything that charges you money to teach you to become a Buddha, a celestial being, or a saint. Anything that allows you to take advantage of others. Anything that is mysterious or spooky. Anything that is sneaky or furtive. Any teaching of gong or magical arts other than productive skills. 99% of those who preach to you in the name of the greatest creator, God, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints. There are 9 more insights for you to think about. From Buddhism, read only the Diamond Sutra. Do not learn from, listen to, or read anything else. From Christendom, read only the 4 major Gospels. Do not learn from, listen to, or read any of the others. From Taoism, read only the Tao Te Ching. Do not learn from, listen to, or read anything else. From traditional knowledge, learn from the familial precepts of Master Zhu and Zhenguang Xianwen and read Hongyingming's Keijinten. For other Confucian schools, such as disciple rules and so on, do not learn from, listen to, or read them, because the more that you do, the more trapped you will become in their circle of poverty. Rather than listening to people's moral preachings, it is better to read respected scientific articles quietly. Rather than listening to intellectual snobs talking, it is better to study what they have done and what they are doing. Do not place your hopes on any savior. The second coming Jesus, the Chakravartin king, Maitreya Buddha, or the coming of the Ziwei saint. Do not risk your good life on the appearance of any seemingly wise moral leader. Your happiness and future depend upon yourself. Do not expect anyone else to save you. It is good if others do not cheat you, but only your good character and good deeds can save you. Do not look for ways to solve new, current problems from traditions. Those who have played chess or mahjong know that every game is different and that there are no fixed rules. The results of reviving traditional cultures can only lead to rigid thinking. There are 8 more considerations for reference. Never indulge in recreational drugs. Never participate in gambling. Never invest in stocks or participate in so-called financial investments. Never despise your parents, children, husband or wife, or brothers and sisters. Never participate in fighting gangs. Never join any organizations. Neither a borrower nor a lender be William Shakespeare. Do not hurt others or violate the laws of your country. The above are just a little bit of my understanding and experiences after I, an ordinary poor person, have risen from poverty to freedom. They are very simple and only serve as lessons and references. You need not argue with me. If you believe what I said, then refer to it. If you do not, then do what you think is right. I have an even higher path for any poor people who believe that what I have written above makes sense. 中国人当明白的一个浅显道理. A simple truth that the Chinese should understand. Qualifications Xuefeng. October 26, 2021. Translated by Yu and edited by Peter. The simple truth to understand is that the United States is not China's enemy, but China's benefactor. Did China defeat the Japanese invaders? No. If the United States had not dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan, and if the United States had not dispatched 50,000 sorties of bombers to almost totally destroy 98 cities in Japan, killing and injuring more than 800,000 Japanese, Japan would not have surrendered unconditionally. China might have been occupied by Japan for a long time, and the Chinese would have long since become slaves of their subjugation. To say that China defeated the Japanese aggressors is just the obsession of the Chinese people. This is the case. Don't we think that the United States is China's benefactor? Do not think that the Japanese cannot occupy China. Back then, the northern nomads defeated China, which surpassed them numerically dozens of times, with a small number of troops. There are many examples of China being defeated. In the Yuan and Qing dynasties, the Chinese were almost all controlled by the northern minorities. Do not be mad when you are mentioned as slaves. Today, to the descendants of Qi, Chu, Yin, Han, Zhao, Wei, and Xixia, where's your country now? Aren't all of you just subjugated slaves who feel very proud? Speaking of slaves and subjugation, I will ask the common people in the world, are you willing to be conquered by a civilization? Or is it better to be ruled by tyrants big and small? For example, in today's Afghanistan, for ordinary people, is it better to become a slave in subjugation managed by the United States or ruled by the native Taliban? People all over the world should remember that when your country is conquered, it is just a change of the people who rule you, and the sun and the moon are still shining on you, and the green mountains are still there. For the common people, whoever allows you to live a joyous, happy, free, and blessed life in peace and contentment is your savior. Whoever does not let you live and work in peace and contentment, and does not let you live a joyous, happy, free, and blessed life is a bastard. Think about who brought the medical institutions that are in China today and who created modern hospitals for China. To tell everyone, they are Americans. Isn't the United States China's benefactor? Think about the school education enjoyed by the descendants of the Chinese people today. Who created this civilized and modern school system in China? It's the Americans. Isn't the United States China's benefactor? Look at the many outstanding talents in modern and contemporary China. Most of them were cultivated by the United States. Even today, the United States is still cultivating tens of millions of talents for China. Is the United States not China's benefactor? Chinese people should not requite kindness with enmity, be ungrateful, or they will be punished by heaven. To say that the United States will never give up their ambition of conquering US is to call white, black. Did the United States come to China killing and setting fire? Has the US occupied an inch of China's land? It is said that the United States having the trade war with China is a power hegemony. I want to ask, cars from the United States are imposed a 40% tariff by China, and the United States will impose a 27.5% tariff on cars from China. Now the Americans are demanding that China impose the same tariff rate as the United States. Is this too much to ask? When you come to my house, I only charge you 5 yuan for tickets. When I go to your house, you charge me 8 yuan for tickets. Now I ask you to either waive tickets for everyone, or to charge the same amount for tickets. Is this request unreasonable? They just put forward a fair request. and we think they are bullying us. Who is bullying whom and who is deceiving whom? By the way, let's talk about a few phenomena. China's elites have transferred most of their property and children to the United States. Why? Because property in China is not protected, they must transfer it. Most of the students from Peking University and Tsinghua University who went to the United States stayed in the United States and did not want to return to China. Why? Because they cannot use their talents when they come back to China. Not only will they not be able to use what they have learned, but if they do not get it right, they will be criticized and punished without the hope of a bright future. Why would they want to come back? Many high-ranking officials and celebrities in China have become foreign nationals. Why? Because the safety of life in China is not guaranteed. There are countless people in the world who run to the United States even if they go to great lengths to do this. Why? Because that's where people yearn to be. There are many people who criticize the United States. Who are they? Answer: they are all poor and stupid men and women. They are liars who scold the United States superficially, but sneak into the United States illegally. Open your eyes and look at the changes in the world over the past century. Anyone who follows the United States has become a developed country, and the people live a happy life. Anyone who opposes the United States is declining and heading for a dead end. 人类的哪些行为违背了自然之道? What human actions go against the way of nature? Xuefeng, November 27, 2021. Translated by Yu and edited by Peter. Any civilization, if it goes against the way of nature, has only one ending: extinction. Atlantis civilization,